Our next story is one of courage, resilience, and the unwavering power of finding and using your voice, even when life tries to silence it.
I'm Debra Lee Fader, and this is my story of Rise Up. I am a student of life, just as we all are. And what has happened with me is that I have had my voice open every door in my life, my singing voice, and then later through life, my speaking voice. And then later, after that, my discernment voice, as I was in a medical gaslight situation with a very dire prospect of disease. I've been through many trials and errors in my life. Most people thought my life was a charmed life because I had all sorts of fun as an entertainer, traveling all over the world in production shows, and was very athletic. I used to sea dive, and I loved to take lessons to fly a plane, and I would just always make the most of every situation I was in during the day when I wasn't singing and performing at night. So people would love to hear the stories, but what ended up happening with me is in 2006, I fell on my knees when I got out of bed, then fell on my arms, and then fell directly onto my face, a very painful face plant, and I could not move an inch. Eventually, I received or regained a little bit of control with my fingers and my hands, and I was able to pull myself with my fingers, my forearms, and I got to a phone to let people know that I couldn't go into work and I needed some medical assistance immediately. Of course, my husband came and saved my life at that point, got me into doctors that could actually keep my organs from shutting down. So I went through several years of misdiagnosis, and if I didn't have faith, I don't know how I could have gotten through the situations that I was faced with. I had many people that were in prayer groups with me. I was a mayor of our town, Montevideo, Minnesota, and I would always sing in church. So I had many people that prayed for me and prayed me through the most difficult chapter of my life. And this chapter went on for probably 6 chapters because from 2006 to 2013, I had no diagnosis. I was in and out of wheelchairs, using walking sticks, using canes, and of course we call it furniture walking because you hold on to furniture as you move from space to space. And I did that I still do that once in a while when I don't have a walk aid in front of me for some reason. Once in a while I forget that I'm in this situation. And then, of course, when I do forget, that's when I trip and fall down and the process starts all over again. But in 2013, I went to Mayo Clinic and I was there for a 2-week time period where they finally came up with an answer for me. And I do have primary progressive multiple sclerosis. I really should not be doing any better than being in a wheelchair. However, my faith and the faith of those around me, my family, my husband, my parents when they were still alive, everyone would pray me through these most difficult times, and somehow I managed to persevere. So for me, the word, people talk about resilience. For me, the word is persevere. You have to persevere through everything because there is a great deal of pain and confusion when you are in such of a dire situation where you don't know if you'll be able to move over the next few minutes or not. So I was constantly depending upon the prayer in my life. And prayer, I would visualize that I could walk and that I could move and that I could still use my arms. And I took walk therapy. And for me, prayer is the manifestation of thought. And that, I will repeat, it's the manifestation of thought. I had to let that sink in. And when I talk to other people that aren't so sure how they feel about a faith in their life, I remind them that we are spiritual human beings. Human beings aren't just motorized and thinking, we are spiritual. So it matters to me that you would manifest your thought through prayer. And as you do that and you visualize the prayer for yourself, you are able to improve your life, and you will be so surprised how many ways you have changed and grown and brought along other people as witnesses to your own strength. When I received the diagnosis of multiple sclerosis at Mayo, I had to call my husband. We had a lodging business, so he was running the business. And I called him and told him what it was. And he just, this is a guy that doesn't ever show emotions in such a way, but he started sobbing. And he said, I had no idea that this was happening because of the medical gaslighting that I had had. I had a doctor say right in front of me to my husband, she's making this all up. She just wants more attention from you. Ignore her. I was livid when that happened, but what could I do? I mean, that is how he felt. Things were with me. I didn't have any neurological problems. I was actually being probably what you would call a drama queen and trying to get my husband's attention, which is ludicrous. And then what happened is when I was clearly diagnosed with MS, I have a crying husband. I have my sister holding on to me at Mayo because she brought me through to all of the doctor's appointments. And everyone else around me was distressed. I was absolutely at peace. I finally had some answers. And then I knew all I had to do was try to rebuild my life and retool my mind to fight this, and also to set up appointments for walk therapy and to continue to try to collect my balance, and to find that the walk aids that I had to use were really my tools, my friends. And they became extensions of me, and that's the way I get around. Walkers, canes, and still every once in a while a little furniture massage, grabbing pieces to navigate a small space. So it's quite nice. You need people around you that are going to be positive and help you see that there is light at the end of the tunnel. You don't need people around you who keep measuring you by your past accomplishments and probably your past failures. You need a support system, and that support system is like it's like a weaning away of those that are negative around you. And you'd be surprised where the negativity is coming from. It may be coming from someone that you thought was your best friend, but you just have to let go quietly, in love, and then eventually, if things work out and people start to see you as a complete person, regardless of your disability, then you can let them back in, but not while you are in a determination state and a fight for your life and a fight for your freedom. And you have to let those people go with love. And they understand. They don't want to see you that way anyway. So let yourself develop without any negativity around you. As I said earlier, I was mayor of our small town, Montevideo, Minnesota, and I just found that I was bringing all of these different types of people with various cultural backgrounds together. And I used to put on a Christmas show every year at my best friend's theater, and we would always put these shows on, and I found that the entertainers that we were coming up with from all over Minnesota, and we even had a violinist that would come in from Portugal to be in the shows. I just found that they were from various backgrounds, and we have a great community of Micronesians in our area, so they would come and sing praises, and I had Native Americans and other cultures, Spanish cultures, other cultures that normally in a small rural town you may not witness. So it was nice to have all these people together, and then we decided to start a nonprofit, and we called it Diversity USA. So here we are. Queen of Kindness is a little nickname that my best friend, Ruth Ann Lee, gave to me a few years ago. She said, "You're just always the queen of kindness. You always want to bring people together. You always want to try to build on what we have on Main Street and help people receive spaces, go out of their way to start their own businesses, and it helps to thrive your small town economical situation." So she said, "You just keep on being you. You do you, and be the kind person you are, because that allows other people to see that kindness is not a detriment. Kindness is a strength, and you just bring people together and of all these different walks of life, and it just helps the community learn to connect better than they would without that, because people from different cultures tend to stay in their own little pockets of society. But if you can bring them to all together in one goal, such as renovating a main street and then putting on shows, community shows, why not do it? And it just helps everyone feel better about themselves, and they feel comfortable in asking questions about a culture different than their own, and everybody learns to get along. So it's a coming together of the minds, and it works. I just want to share that my hope is, now that I've been through the process of the healing and learning and stretching myself in different ways and knowing my limited abilities, and expanding my mind as far as a talent to help others, that is what I want to do with the rest of my life. Help people overcome their trials and tribulations, and do it with kindness, and keep the Kindness Alliance that we've started, keep it growing across the country. Would love that.
Debra Lee Fader's story is a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the transformative power of finding your voice, even in the face of life's greatest challenges. From the bright lights of the stage to the heartfelt connections she built in her community, Debra reminds us that resilience and kindness can carry us through even the darkest times.